Welcome to Biff's Mystery Theater. I have many tales to tell you. Ghost stories, murder stories, and tales that will make your bones chill. Join me, won't you? For Theater of the Mind, where you always have the best seat in the house. Now close your eyes and turn off the lights.
This is your FBI. This is your FBI, an official broadcast from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, presented as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. To your FBI, you look for national security, and to the Equitable Society for financial security. These two great institutions are dedicated to the protection of you, your home, and your country. Tonight, the story of a crime against our nation, espionage.
(1939). That year, the continent of Europe already echoed the cries of people under aggression. On the continent of Asia, far beyond our western shores, was Japan. A dedicated nation, a dedicated people, dedicated to war upon the United States. But we did not know this yet. Within our western gates were more Japs, thousands of them. Were they dedicated to being good American citizens, or were there among them some dedicated to our destruction? Here was a vital task for the FBI. The safety and security of America might depend on what they found out. A Sunday afternoon in 1939, two FBI agents from the San Francisco office stood on a pier at the San Francisco waterfront watching a Japanese cruiser warp into the dock.
How big would you figure that crowd, Jim?
Oh, I'd say, at least 1,000.
Pretty excited for Japs, aren't they?
Well, this is a big day for them, Larry. It isn't often they get a chance to pay their respects to a big shot from Japan.
I know.
Larry, is this Prince Suji a member of the royal family?
Yes.
They sure are giving him the Sunday bows, all right.
Funny how they conform to that caste system of theirs. That first line that shook hands with the prince were all top bracket boys.
I know, I've checked them off. Japanese Consul General, head of the Jap Association, leaders of the prefectural groups. Second line was a middle bracket bunch, bankers, nip businessmen.
All they got from the good prince was a nod.
Well, that's more than the small fry are getting now. There's housewives and farmers.
They bow, and the prince doesn't even acknowledge their presence. Hey. Look at that bull-necked little man in the chauffeur's uniform.
What about it?
You notice something? He's not cringing or bowing. He's standing in line with his head up and shoulders back like a soldier.
Oh, yes.
Hey, did you see that?
Yes.
The prince bowed to him.
I know.
I don't like that, Jim. They don't play it that way in their league. Princes don't go around bowing to chauffeurs.
Unless our chauffeur is a big shot back in Japan.
Yes. That's something you and I better check on.
One Jap bowing to another Jap. A pair of striped pants and cutaway coat bowing to a chauffeur's uniform. The two FBI agents, troubled by what they saw, investigated and learned the chauffeur's name and background. Then they took their information to the agent in charge of the San Francisco office of the FBI.
That's the story, Mr. Walker.
A prince bowing to a chauffeur. That is unusual.
Yes.
Did you follow this man?
Yes, sir. He lives at the Osaka Hotel.
His name?
Yasu Kajioka.
Did you learn anything about his work?
Yes, he drives a big Cadillac. He owns it. He runs some sort of escort service with headquarters at the hotel.
Anything else on him?
We found out that he's been a very active worker for many of the local Japanese associations.
Well, I think we should do a thorough check on Mr. Kajioka's activities.
Won't be too easy. We could use some help.
From whom?
Someone of his own race. A Japanese who is loyal to us.
Well, we might try the university. They have quite a few Japanese-American students there.
That's a good idea.
Suppose I arrange with the Dean of Studies out there for you to have a talk with him.
Fine.
I'll get him on the phone right now.
The two FBI agents spent almost an entire day with the Dean of Studies at the university. They pored over the personal records of many Japanese-American students and finally narrowed down their choice to one man, a student by the name of Tom Tanaka. His record showed he lived in the same neighborhood as the Jap chauffeur.
Gentlemen, have you reached a decision?
Yes, sir. This man, Tom Tanaka, looks good to us.
Well, I think you've made an excellent choice.
He lives in the same neighborhood as the man we want watched. If he measures up in other ways, that's a definite plus.
I understand.
You realize, sir, how important it is to us that we be able to trust this boy implicitly.
Yes, I do.
We've got to know if he's loyal, if he's a real American at heart, if he thinks and acts like an American.
There are thousands of men and women who live here on the West Coast, Mr. Schuyler, who look Japanese and are the sons and daughters of Japanese. But I know them as true Americans. They're as loyal as any of us whose ancestors were German, English, French, Irish, or whatever. I say that this boy is an American just as you or I.
Good. Can we meet him at once?
Tom, I imagine your dean has told you that we're special agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yes, sir. He has.
We've selected you, son, from the list of the entire enrollment of Japanese Americans here at the university.
As a student?
No. No, as an American.
Well, what about it? I am an American.
We believe you are, in every sense of the word.
Has somebody been talking about me?
No.
Then what's this all about, sir?
Tom, we want you to help us.
How?
In a very important, perhaps very dangerous way.
You want me to work with the FBI?
Yes.
Do you know a man called Kajioka? Yasu Kajioka?
Oh, yes, we're neighbors. I helped him compose letters in English. Several times.
Good. Would he remember you?
I think so. He said once that he might give me a job doing secretarial work in my spare time. Why do you ask me about Kajioka?
We need a loyal Japanese American like yourself to help us investigate this man. We want to know if he is connected with any un-American activities.
What do you want me to do?
Help us to get information. Tom, all we want are facts.
I see.
You said that you know Kajioka. That he offered you a job once. We want you to go to him. Take the job.
We're giving you the opportunity to do this as an American, Tom.
Well, what would I say to Kajioka? How would I ask for the job?
You'd tell him that you're in need of money to finish your studies. If he hired you, you'd undertake at once to impress him with your love of Japan and the Japanese.
We don't want you to put your life in danger. You'd be cautious, never inquisitive.
What do you say, son?
I'll do it.
No. What do you want, young man?
I want to talk to you, Mr. Kajioka.
What about, please?
A job.
Why?
To earn some money.
Why do you come to me, lowly chauffeur, if you need money?
You told me someday you might give me a job.
Oh, yes. Why you want to earn money?
To keep up my studies.
You got father, mother.
I don't want to ask them.
So, but you ask lowly chauffeur. Why?
Everyone says good things of Kajoka.
Oh, good. You hear perhaps I visit cruiser.
They say Kajoka was greatly honored.
Oh, so, they say correctly. Please, you sit down.
Thank you.
Now, how you think?
What do you mean?
It could be important for me to know.
I think Japanese.
Oh, so. And what are those thoughts, please?
I love my people. I love Japan.
So, I think maybe you lie.
Why should I? Who can read my thoughts?
Oh, very, very good. Yes.
Will you give me a job?
Yes. You work for me now. Come every day. I'll try to read your thoughts. Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Once the all-important inside contact had been made, many FBI agents took up the trail. They learned that Kajioka always drove Japs who were easily identified as high-ranking naval officers on vacation. They learned that he was the head of a secret Jap organization on the West Coast, the Hamushikai, boasting over 10,000 members, all eligible for military service in Japan. The society masked itself as a charitable one. Charity in the sense that thousands and thousands of dollars were drafted from the members and sent back to Japan. Why? The answer came quickly and dramatically. One night, on a street corner, young Tom Tanaka reported to the special agents of the FBI.
Tom.
Yes, sir.
Here we are.
I haven't much time, sir. I've got to get back.
What have you got, son?
Something big is cooking. There's a great meeting called in the basement of the Japanese high school for tonight. Kajoka will make an appeal to get more funds to send back to Japan.
I see.
Also, they are to show preparedness movies sent over from Japan.
Are you supposed to attend this meeting?
Yes. Kajoka will expect it.
Tom.
Yes, sir.
We need a list of the members in that organization. Practically everything depends on our getting it. Do you think you could go to the meeting, get the list, and get away alive?
Yes. The pictures may go on about 8 o'clock. I'll try and sneak out and meet you here then.
Good boy.
Good luck. We'll be waiting.
We momentarily closed the Federal Bureau of Investigation file on Kajioka, enemy alien. We will reopen this file in just a moment. Yesterday, Thomas I. Parkinson, president of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States, received an interesting letter. It was from a member of the Equitable Society, and it read, Mr. Parkinson, just how many businesses is the Equitable Society in, anyway? Our radio program talks about millions of equitable dollars invested in war bonds, and more millions in key war industries like shipyards and railroads, in oil, steel, and aluminum. Friends tell me how the Equitable Society helps keep kids in school and helps people own their own homes and farms. It all sounds mighty complex to me. Yes, investing the premium dollars of 3,200,000 members of the Equitable Society is of necessity a very complicated operation. For safety's sake, those equitable funds have to be spread out widely, must go into thousands of different enterprises. And yet all this is done to make it easy and simple for Equitable Society members to attain greater security for themselves and their loved ones. And so, you see, by employing its funds in all kinds of activities that are useful to the nation as a whole, the Equitable Society is able to offer sounder and safer protection to its members than any one member could achieve by his own unaided efforts. By serving its members, the Equitable Society serves America. And now, back to the file on Kajioka, enemy alien.
"1939. In that year, there wasn't even a slight buzzing in our ears to warn us that enemy planes were warming up for an attack. There was nothing in the word protocol to make us think of anything but where the wife of some ambassador might have to sit at some state dinner. Yet 2 men of the FBI, standing on a dock at San Francisco, had seen in a bit of Jap protocol enough to make their blood run cold. Enough to make them, on their own initiative as Americans, set up a series of patient, exhaustive, dangerous investigations which inched down 1939 through 1940 and brought them on the evening of February 3rd, 1941, to stand tense in a darkened hallway near a high school in the Jap section of San Francisco.
Watch it, Jim. Don't let that street light hit you.
I've counted about 2,000 have gone into that meeting so far.
Still coming. Kajioka sure must have passed the word along. What time is it?
Almost 7:45.
Looks like the meeting is getting started.
Somebody coming along. See that shadow?
Pull back here.
It's Tom.
Tom, here. Oh, hello. We've got a wonderful break. Kajioka forgot to bring the records. He wants me to go to his house and get them and bring them to the meeting.
What part of the meeting is on now?
They're going to run off the movies.
How long will that take?
Until about 9:15.
Good. I'll go with you. Get the records. Bring them to the FBI office. We'll have them photographed and back in your hands by 9 o'clock.
Can you do it that soon?
We've got to. Jim.
Yes?
You stay here. Call the office. Tell them what we have to do. Ask for the entire staff to stand by.
Right.
I'll drive Tom over.
It's going to be tight going.
I know. But this is the first break we've gotten, and it may be the only one. Let's go.
While the movies whipped the Japanese audience up with blatant pictures of Japan's armed might, while distinguished visitors sat rigidly straight in the front rows, their cropped heads marking them high officers of the Emperor's Army and Navy, while almost 3,000 sons of Nippon shared a new sense of oneness, of dedication to Emperor and country, an alerted FBI office, brilliant with lights, crowded with 100% staff, worked feverishly to photograph the secret documents and make the deadline.
I don't think we can wait any longer, Mr. Logan. It's 8:54.
I know.
I've got to be back to the hall before the lights are turned up.
We'll make it.
1 minute to deadline. How are you counting?
2 more sheets. The others are finished.
Come on, men. Hurry it up.
Please, you've got to give me the originals. I can't wait. The movie ends at 9:15.
Let's start correlating pages in the original. You know how they go, Tom?
Yes, sir.
I'll grab them as fast as they're finished.
Number 2 is finished. Come on, snap up on number 3 machine.
Please, hurry.
Hold an elevator.
Right.
Here you are. This is the final. Thanks. We'll put them together in the car.
It's 8:55.
Let's go. We'll just make it.
Mr. Kajioka.
Where have you been? It took you a long time to get papers.
I stood in the back of the hall to see the pictures. I thrilled with the people.
Give me the records.
Here you are, sir.
Good. I have news. We have received orders to change names of all branch chapters of our organization, and we must at once seem to stop our activities.
Why?
Why? Because soon glorious Japan will win honor or downfall, and we are ordered to prepare for duty as soldiers behind the guns.
The FBI had everything it needed now on Brother Kajioka. His position as head of the secret society. His activities as chauffeur deluxe for visiting Japanese officers. His role as collector extraordinary of funds for the Japanese war machine. His devious role as espionage agent. Everything the FBI needed except the right to go out and arrest him. Under our way of government, we do not go about arresting citizens of friendly nations. The FBI could watch and wait. And to add insult to injury, while it fretted over its watching and waiting, one of the FBI agents had reason to phone in to the agent in charge of the San Francisco Bureau.
Yes?
This is Logan.
Yes, Larry.
Jim and I have been following Kajioka.
Yes?
We followed him from the Osaka Hotel. He drove straight to Sutter Street.
Yeah?
Parked his car, proceeded on foot to 111 Sutter Street.
Why, well, that's our building here.
I know.
Well, where did Kajioka go?
He's in your foyer, waiting to see you.
He's what? Oh, thanks, Larry. Bye. Yes?
Mr. Kajioka to see you, sir.
Send Mr. Kajioka right in.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. What can I do for you?
I am Kajioka.
Sit down, Kajioka. Now, what do you want to see me about?
I come to FBI because I am honorable man.
I see.
I wish to offer my services to the United States.
Why?
I hate Japanese.
Oh? Tell me about it.
I was born in Japan. One time in Japan, they arrested my father. He was a good man, harmed nobody. They say he was disloyal, but they have no proof, and it is a lie.
What happened to him?
I never see him again. They murder my father.
And so you hate Japanese?
Yes, very much. I would be good agent for FBI.
What makes you think so?
Japanese government tried to get me to work against United States. You know how it is. You have information on certain secret Japanese organizations here. No?
A little.
Oh, that is too bad. With me, you get to know much. I know all Japanese tricks. I make valuable agents.
Perhaps you would, Mr. Kajioka.
You think about it. And remember, I want to work for United States. Great country. I work for FBI and kill many Japs.
Well, we're not interested in killing Japs nor anyone else.
Sometime it will be necessary. Then you tell Kajioka what to do, where to go. And he goes.
Well, thank you very much for your offer, Mr. Kajioka. We'll take it under consideration and we'll let you know in due time.
Thank you. So much.
Not at all. It will be a pleasure.
Mr. Kajioka might have smelled a rat. That is, if a rat can smell himself. But his surprising offer was politely refused, and his intensified wanderings by day and night were as equally matched by the more intensified watching by the many electricians and workmen, laundrymen, truck drivers, cabmen, innocent motorists, who sent in their reports under the names of special agents of the FBI. Still, all they could do was watch. Watch and follow the little man who was dedicated, like his country, to the destruction of America. Then came December 7th, 1941. On that fateful day, the entire staff of the FBI was gathered in tense silence in each of the Bureau's offices. In San Francisco, even the local law enforcement officers were present, waiting.
Everyone here?
Everyone, sir.
Larry, you and Jim can stand by and watch the teletype.
Right, sir.
The names are coming in from Washington. Names and addresses of enemy aliens to be picked up when the word comes through.
We'll take them.
I know a name you two will want to watch for.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Getting into the K's now.
Yeah.
Hello? Yes, sir. Right. That's the word. Get going.
K is in Kajioka. K is in Kajioka. Come on, teletype.
There it is. Capital K for Kajioka, the little rat. We got him now. Come on.
Otto, now you see who I am. Major Kajioka. Yes. How do I look in my uniform top?
Very well, sir.
Yes. No more lowly chauffeur. Glorious Japan has struck. American fleet. No more. Pearl Harbor. No more. All gone. Soon planes come. Then transport.
Yes.
I have 2 revolvers. See? Oiled and loaded. I give you one. Soon our soldiers march in the streets. And you and I will go out and kill every dirty American we see. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. You watch at the window. Tell me when you see planes. Tell me when you see glorious soldiers of our brave army. I will pour drink for ceremonial toast.
Yes, sir. I'll keep watch.
Soon I will be colonel, then general. Wait until you see how they will reward me for what I've done. I will be big man.
Yes, of course.
I hear planes. Do you see them yet?
Not yet.
Listen, our soldiers are coming. I drink to glorious Japan. They are here. Coming. Banzai!
Come on, Kajioka.
Huh?
Uncle Sam wants to see you about a place called Pearl Harbor.
Kajioka was rounded up with thousands of his kind. Rounded up with the aid of a loyal Japanese American. Like the rest, Kajioka wondered how the FBI had known of his work. Does he remember that little incident back in 1939 when a pair of striped pants and a cutaway coat bowed to a chauffeur's uniform on the hard deck of a Japanese cruiser? Probably not. He wouldn't understand the things that make Americans tick. The American willingness of those who serve our country in the ranks of the FBI. No, Kajioka probably will never understand until it's too late. And how will he ever know that it was too late that day back in 1939?
You'll hear about the disposition of this case in just a minute. On the beaches of Normandy, our boys were seeing the latest movies 24 hours after landing. And not long ago on a Pacific island, 2 Japanese snipers were captured when they tried to join a GI audience to see an American film. Yes, movies follow the flag because Uncle Sam knows that they're first-rate morale builders for battle-weary men. So will you join the Equitable Society in a salute to the motion picture industry? A salute to the daring cameramen who risk their lives in every American attack. To the technical men who developed special equipment to photograph Tokyo from 45,000 feet in the air. To the actors, musicians, and directors who made tens of thousands of valuable training films for our armed forces. And to the 16,000 theater managers who have sold millions of war bonds in every drive. Members of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States will be proud to learn that their premium dollars have helped finance this great industry, which has proved such a vital asset to the nation at war. For years, the Equitable Society has invested in the motion picture industry, as well as in other essential American industries and American agriculture. Yes, in wartime, Equitable Society dollars are fighting dollars. And at all times, they are security dollars. For you, your home, and your country.
As an enemy alien, Yasu Kajioka was placed in an internment camp to remain there for the duration of the war with Japan.
The incidents used in tonight's broadcast are taken from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. However, all names used are fictitious, and any similarity thereof to the names of persons living or dead is accidental. Programs in this series of particular interest to servicemen and women are broadcast overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Tonight, Kajioka was played by Ted Osborne. The music was under the direction of Van Cleve. The author was Frank Wilson, and your narrator was Frank Lovejoy. This Is Your FBI is a Jerry Devine production. Now, this is Carl Frank, speaking for the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States, and inviting you to tune in again next week at this same time for This Is Your FBI. And now the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States brings you a message from the Office of War Information. It may seem slightly ridiculous these hot July days to be thinking of winter heating problems. But actually, it's the most sensible thing you can do. The fuel situation is still critical, so don't put off your heating problems and forget all about them. Check your heating equipment now. Order insulation for the walls, windows, and doors of your home. Talk with your fuel dealer and take his advice. Fill your coal bin or your oil tank right away before the fall rush begins. This is the American Broadcasting Company.
This is your FBI. This is your FBI, an official broadcast from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, presented as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. To your FBI, you look for national security. To the Equitable Society for financial security. These two great institutions are dedicated to the protection of you, your home, and your country. Tonight, the story of a crime against society. Murder.
In the crime-mad era of the 1920s and early 30s, state boundaries proved havens for the gangster criminals who plagued the nation. Law enforcement agencies had to rely upon complex systems of extradition to bring these lawbreakers to justice. But since 1934, since Congress gave the FBI jurisdiction to track down these fugitives, pursue them across state borders, this type of roving criminal has almost disappeared. For the criminal, there is now no refuge in flight. A proof of this, a man who called himself John Dixon is an excellent example. His flight began in a city in Florida, in a well-to-do home in that city, in fact, in the living room of that home.
You go ahead and put on the light, will you, dear?
Okay.
Double features always wear me out.
I wish you'd felt that way before we left. I've always...
Just stay where you are, folks.
Fred!
Quiet, lady.
Who are you?
I was just doing a little work here. I'm afraid you came in at the wrong time.
Fred, he's a burglar.
Lady, I told you to be quiet. I sometimes get nervous with a gun in my hand.
Martha. I have to do as he says.
You're very smart. Now, just come in and sit down.
Very well. Come on, dear.
All right.
Spades are down, bones cut. We shouldn't be disturbed. Now, there's just one other precaution I think I'd better take. There's some cloth and adhesive tape on that table there. I brought it along just in case.
Well?
Your wife will use it on you first.
Fred.
Please, Martha. You must obey.
You won't mind it. Come on, put it around his mouth.
Oh. I'm sorry, dear.
Oh, yeah.
Did I hear you folks say you'd been to the movies?
Yes.
What'd you see?
I don't remember.
Just put the adhesive over the cloth.
Oh. Like this?
Yes. Have you seen the new Crosby picture at Central?
No.
It's honey. I caught it last night.
Is that too tight, dear?
Leave it that way, lady. That's perfect.
Poor darling.
Now, I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you the same treatment.
Oh, please.
Sorry, lady.
Oh, no, please. No.
I always hate to do a job this way.
Oh.
But you must appreciate my dear.
Oh.
Just stay still. That's it. You'd only come home 15 minutes later. I'd have been out of here. And we wouldn't have had to go through all this. There you are. Now, if you'll both sit down, I can tie you up. Right over there will do.
Come along. That's good. I have a few of your possessions in that bag. I'm afraid I'm going to need transportation, too. Have you your car keys, sir? In which pocket? Fine. Now, why don't I sit down with you, have one little farewell drink, and leave?
With the crime committed, the criminal's flight begins. It's a casual flight at first. He feels secure in the knowledge that his victims are helpless, that they cannot report him for many hours. So he drives north in their car, drives on a main highway, drives to a refreshment stand on the outskirts of town.
Good evening.
Oh, hi, Mac.
Can I get something to eat?
Sure.
How about a hamburger?
Sorry, Mac. Meatless day.
Oh.
Cheeseburger?
Fine.
Huh?
I said fine.
That's what I thought you said. I just ain't used to hearing it anymore. Everybody's got complaints. All they do is beat. All the time, beat.
Who owns that Buick sedan over there?
Oh, that's yours, ain't it, Mac?
Yes. Why? Can I see your registration? Of course. It's in the car. Come on, I'll get it for you. Okay. Is there any trouble, officer?
Yeah. This car was reported stolen.
Well, it must be a mistake. I've been driving it all day.
I still want to see the registration.
Really? It's in the glove compartment here. Here we are.
Hey, what happened?
Cancel my order, Mac.
To the crime of robbery, the fugitive has added the crime of murder. The two shots killed the policeman who sought to question him regarding the ownership of the car. The flight is not so casual now. John Dixon abandoned the stolen car and hurriedly went to a nightclub on the outskirts of the city.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, hiya, honey. When'd you come in?
Just now.
Kind of late, aren't you?
I just came out to see you.
Oh, I'm not singing anymore tonight, baby. In fact, I was just on my way home.
Well, maybe we can stop off for a bite to eat someplace, huh?
Yeah, guess that'd be okay.
Fine. You have a car, don't you?
Yeah, don't you?
Not with me. A fellow of mine dropped me off here.
Oh. Well, we can use mine.
Ready now?
Sure.
Let's go then.
Say, you know something awful?
What?
I forgot your name.
Dixon. Johnny Dixon.
Oh, sure. I should have remembered that, but so many fellows come out here and all. I just...
I understand. Go ahead.
I'm parked right over here.
Okay.
Gee, what a night.
Yes. Beautiful.
You from around here?
No, I'm from up north.
Oh, sure. You told me that last night, didn't you?
Yes, I believe I did.
So many fellows tell you so many stories and all. You
I understand.
Here we are. You want to drive?
I'd rather not.
Okay, hop in.
Thanks.
Reason I asked you was so many fellows like to drive and all.
I guess I'm the exception.
You can say that again. Now, where to?
I'd suggest that you drive north.
But there's some good eating places up on...
You drive north. Do as I say.
Now, just a minute.
Look, honey, do you see this gun?
Hey.
I killed a cop with it a little while ago. So be a good girl and drive north. Tired, Flo? I said, are you tired?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't relieve you of the driving. I just think it's better this way.
For you, maybe. What time is it?
Almost 4 a.m.
Tell me something, will you?
What?
Is this a regular business with you?
What do you mean?
Killing people? Cops?
No.
Why'd you do it?
He tried to interfere.
What with?
I was driving a car. It wasn't mine.
You steal cars, too,
Yes. I'm quite versatile.
You sound like you were proud of it.
I am.
I'll stick to singing things.
Well, there's not a great deal of difference.
What do you mean?
We both enjoy prominence, being in the public eye.
Kidding?
Not at all. You're undoubtedly pleased when you see your picture in the paper. Well, I am, too.
You got a press agent?
No. But my picture was in True Detective magazine 3 times last year.
With numbers under it.
Still satisfied.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
That's a bus up ahead there.
Yeah.
When you pass it, stop.
You mean you're getting out?
Yes. According to the gauge, your gas tank's just about empty. Hurry up, pass it.
Mister, that'll be a pleasure.
John Dixon left his car, left his unwilling companion after crossing the state line into Georgia. This was a mistake for him. A costly mistake, for he was now under the jurisdiction of the FBI, as are any and all criminals who cross state lines to avoid prosecution. Exactly 1 hour after Dixon left the nightclub singer, she was telling her story to special agents of the FBI.
Did you see this bus, Miss Harvey?
Yeah, sure.
Can you describe it?
Well, it was an interstate bus.
Was there any sign on it telling where it was bound?
I didn't see any. It was heading north, though.
And this was a little after 4 a.m.
That's right.
Now, I'll check with the bus terminal here, see what they can give us.
All right, Nick.
He sure had plenty of nerve.
How did you meet him?
Oh, he'd come into the club a couple of times.
Do you recall who introduced you to him?
Nobody, really. In my line of work, you meet so many fellas and all.
Did he seem to know anyone else in the club?
No, I don't think so.
Had you ever been out with him before?
No.
The name he gave you was John Dixon.
That's right.
Probably an alias.
I wish I could describe him for you better, but like I said before, he looks just like 100 other guys.
That's the same report we received from the couple whose home he robbed. Did they give you anything?
Yes, a good deal. That bus was bound for Savannah.
Are you sure?
Yes, and it's an express. Doesn't make any stops.
Oh, that's a break.
How do you mean?
We're going up to the Savannah field office tonight. We have tickets on a plane that leaves here in exactly 15 minutes.
No kidding.
We'll teletype a report ahead, but it's just possible that we might reach Savannah in time to meet Mr. Dixon in person. Due in right now, Nick.
I know.
I wish we had more to go on. His description, I mean.
Well, if he flagged the bus down on the highway, the driver should record.
This could be it now.
Yes.
Let's stand over here.
Right.
Not many passengers. Can't be more than a dozen.
No.
This is Savannah. Last stop.
I see nothing but women.
2 soldiers there.
Yes, but no other man. Driver.
Yeah?
We're special agents of the FBI. Here are my credentials.
Oh. Well, what can I do for you?
We're looking for a man. He boarded your bus on the highway about 30 miles north of Jacksonville.
This bus?
I believe so. It was a little after 4 a.m.
Well, I was there a little after 4 a.m., but I didn't stop this bus for nobody.
We momentarily close the Federal Bureau of Investigation file on John Dixon, murderer. We'll return to this case in just a moment. Let's open the dictionary to the letter S and look for the word society. Let's see. S-O-C. Oh, yes, here it is. Society. And the dictionary says that society means a voluntary association of individuals for common purposes. Well, that certainly describes the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. The Equitable Society is a voluntary association of 3,200,000 men and women.
The idea that led this group to get together is very simple. We of the Equitable Society believe that 3,200,000 pairs of shoulders are a lot broader than one pair. Our common purpose is to combine our dollars into a common protective fund which gives each of us far greater security than he could achieve by his own unaided efforts. In our dealings with the Equitable, we members receive the friendly service and personal attention that the word society implies. Moreover, since we are the sole owners of our society, we know that equitable funds are at work for our benefit. And because the Equitable Society's investments cover America, they are at work for our fellow citizens, too. By serving its members, the Equitable Society serves America. And now, back to the file on John Dixon, murderer.
A fugitive, a clever fugitive, can find many ways to elude the law. He can travel on railroads, buses, cars, trains. He can move swiftly from city to city, from state to state. But the FBI moves swiftly, too. And with the invaluable aid of local police agencies and law-abiding citizens, it can track the cleverest fugitive down. The man who called himself John Dixon was extremely clever. His failure to board the bus, his complete disappearance, was proof of this. Returning to Jacksonville, the special agent sent for the woman who traveled with him, the nightclub singer, and questioned her again.
Look, I didn't really see him get on the bus, but what else was I to think?
You naturally presumed he was.
Naturally.
We found out now that he didn't. We have to look for other leads.
I got no idea what happened to him outside of what I told you.
Miss Harvey, we're trying to set up something definite to identify him by. Perhaps you can contribute to that.
I already told you what he looked like.
Yes, I know. But this time, see if you can recall some things he said.
We've already given his description to the authorities. Brunswick. That's the closest good-sized town after you let him off.
Did they see him there?
We've had no word.
What did you talk about on that ride last night, Miss Harvey?
Him, mostly.
Yes.
Sure had a thing for himself.
Bragging, was he?
But all the time.
Can you remember anything specific?
Well, being a larceny guy was a career with him, he said.
Did he mention any other jobs he'd done?
No.
Well, why did he refer to the career?
That was because he thought his work and my work were alike.
I see.
He was all puffed up because his picture'd been in True Detective magazine 3 times last year.
His picture was in True Detective 3 times?
That's what he said.
In 1 year?
Yes.
Well, that could tell us who this boy really is, Nick.
Yes.
See if we can get back copies of that magazine. Miss Harvey is going to help us do a little research.
The idle remark, the boasting remark made by the man called Dixon to the nightclub singer brought results. In copies of the detective magazine, one man's picture did appear in 3 issues. The girl identified him as Dixon. There was text accompanying these pictures, text that saved the FBI agents much time in determining the killer's true identity. They learned that his criminal record was a long and vicious one, that he had changed his name many times, that he was also adept at changing his complete identity. This was a valuable lead. This was something specific. This was what sent special agents to all clothing stores in Brunswick, Georgia, seeking knowledge of Dixon's whereabouts. Finally, in one store...
let's see that picture again.
Surely. Here you are.
Yeah, that's the fellow, all right.
You're sure of that?
Yeah, positive.
And he came in here yesterday?
That's right, around noontime.
What did he buy?
Blue suit, and brown felt hat, and, oh yes, a top coat.
Can you describe the coat?
There's a brown tweed, just like that one hanging on the rack there.
And what did he do with the clothes he was wearing?
I took them with him, had me wrap them up for him.
I see.
He said he wanted them wrapped for mailing.
Did he say where to?
No. And I had no mind to ask him questions.
Why not?
Well, I noticed when he rolled his clothes up for packing that he put a gun in the bundle, too.
A clue. A clue that is 24 hours old. In 24 hours, a man can cross and recross our continent, but still there was now a clue. The special agents, armed with Dixon's complete description, visited all transportation centers in Brunswick. At the railroad station, they came up with a lead. The day before, a man they believed to be Dixon had inquired about trains to Atlanta. When informed that one did not leave for many hours, he inquired where he could hire a car. He was sent to a garage.
Look at this picture.
Hmm?
Is this the man?
Sure, that's him all right. He told us his mother was dying. He had to get out of town.
Did you rent him a car?
No, he couldn't do that, but he got up to Atlanta anyway.
Ah.
Well, we got him a lift with Doc Whitney. The doc was driving up there in his ambulance.
For sure, I remember him. He was a pleasant enough fellow.
And you drove him right here to Atlanta?
Oh, I drove him right to the airport.
Where was he bound for?
Chicago.
How do you know?
Well, I put him on board the plane.
Yes, I remember him. He occupied seat 5 on yesterday's run.
Did you talk with him?
Mm-hmm.
What about?
Well, he said his mother was dying, and he inquired about the flight to Omaha.
Did he say he was going there?
He wanted to, yes.
I saw the ticket to a man yesterday. He looked like that picture, all right.
He went to Omaha?
Yeah, on the 9 o'clock flight.
Did he say his mother was dying?
Yeah, but his name wasn't Dixon. It was, Snyder.
That's an alias he frequently used.
Well, he should be in Omaha right now.
That's the story, Mr. Bryant.
He arrived here in Omaha late last night.
Yes, he was on the 12:35 flight.
Any report on him at the airport?
He took a taxi into the center of town.
How do you know?
We contacted a soldier who was on the plane.
Yes.
The soldier reported that he'd ordered a cab. He'd sent word ahead to have it waiting.
Yes.
When he got into it, a civilian climbed in after him. In his description, it had to be Dixon.
And this soldier dropped him off downtown?
That's right.
What makes you think that his flight has ended here?
All the conversations he had along the way with ticket agents and other airline employees indicated that this was his destination.
Very well. We'll do a complete check on him here at once.
In Washington, Director Hoover instructed that no effort should be spared to locate Dixon and bring him to justice. Constant checks were made at the airport, railway, and bus stations, but no further information was developed. Special agents visited hotels, tourist camps, and boarding houses in an attempt to pick up the trail. It appeared quite likely that Dixon had stopped his desperate flight in Omaha and was somewhere in the vicinity. Relentlessly, the investigation continued. A double check was made at communication centers. Long-distance toll calls were examined. Dixon's photograph was shown to Pullman conductors, beer tavern operators. A crew of agents made regular rounds of nightclubs, but no trace of him was found. Once more, Dixon had completely disappeared.
Just a dead end, Nick.
I know.
We could only uncover something. Barrett's kind of a lead.
You're still convinced that he's here in Omaha?
Yes, everything points to this being his destination.
That's true.
I don't even think he's hiding out. You can't suspect it we're this close.
Oh, excuse me. Warren speaking. Oh, yes, Frank. Yes, I see. Now, when was this? You'll have the place covered. Good. Thanks. Goodbye. Well, there's the lead you wanted, Roy.
What?
A waitress from the coffee shop at the Rome Hotel identified a picture of Dixon.
Really?
Had breakfast in there yesterday morning.
I see.
Someone's going to cover the place from now on.
Nick.
Yes.
I just remembered.
What?
The package. The package Dixon had wrapped for mailing in Brunswick.
Yes?
If this is his last stop, he could have had it sent here.
Yes.
Let's cover the post office and express companies at once.
Stop orders were placed in the post office and express companies against every name Dixon had ever used. The express company notified the FBI that a package had arrived that morning addressed to a John Snyder, one of Dixon's many names. Special agents sent to cover the express office found that the package had been sent from Chicago, Illinois, the day Dixon had been there. This looked open and shut the end of the trail. But a week passed, a week of endless waiting, and Dixon made no effort to pick up the package. Dixon was in the city, the FBI was reasonably sure of that. It would have to be a matter of time.
Tired, Nick?
Just tired of waiting.
Why don't you go out and get some lunch? I'll stick around here for a while.
Yeah, maybe I will.
I'm sure that if we...
How do you do?
Hello?
I wonder if you have a package here for me, please.
What's the name?
Snyder. John Snyder.
I'll see.
This is it. Yeah, come on.
Dixon.
What?
That's your name, isn't it?
No, I'm sorry.
There's a package here for you, Mr. Snyder.
Thank you.
Just a minute.
Look, I told you my name wasn't Dixon.
You're wasting your time.
Who are you?
We're special agents for the FBI.
What do you want with me?
We'd like to talk to you about Florida.
I've never been there. In fact,
Hold it. Let go of me. Oh, no. There. I just remembered. We heard there was a gun in that package. Would you pick it up, please, Nick?
Right.
Come on, Dixon.
There are few heroics in the FBI. They depend on superior brain power, manpower, and firepower. They will never rest in their crusade to make crime an unprofitable business. No clue is too obscure, no time too long, no detail too small for their attention. Their entire resources are available at all times to all local law enforcement agencies and to you, the law-abiding citizen. This combination cannot be beaten. Many have tried it. To date, few have succeeded.
You'll hear about the disposition of this case in just a minute. Imagine the entire area of New York City's Manhattan Island, 31 square miles covered with 4 feet of oil. That's the total amount of petroleum products, fuel oil, lubricating oil, aviation, and motor gasoline supplied to the Army in 1944. Requirements of the U.S. Navy have been equally staggering. So will you join the Equitable Society in a salute to the men of the petroleum industry? By working this miracle of war production, they have proved that no job is too difficult for the men and women of America and for the system of free enterprise that flourishes in America. For many years, funds of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States have aided in the development of the petroleum industry. Equitable dollars help drill the oil wells, help rear the derricks, help build the pipelines through which the lifeblood of modern warfare flows toward the fighting front. In wartime, Equitable Society dollars are fighting dollars. And at all times, they are security dollars. For you, your home, and your country.
Dixon, returned to Florida and turned over to local authorities, was convicted of murder in the first degree without recommendation for mercy.
The incidents used in tonight's broadcast are taken from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. However, all names used are fictitious, and any similarity thereof to the names of persons living or dead is accidental. Tonight, the music was under the direction of Van Cleve. Your narrator was Frank Lovejoy. This is Your FBI is a Jerry Devine production. Now, this is Carl Frank, speaking for the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States, and inviting you to tune in again next week at this same time for This is Your FBI.
This is the American Broadcasting Company. This is your FBI. This is your FBI, an official broadcast from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, presented as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. To your FBI, you look for national security, and to the Equitable Society for financial security. These two great institutions are dedicated to the protection of you, your home, and your country. Tonight, the story of a crime against the community, bank robbery.
According to the 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, only the weak man is moral. The strong man, the superior man, is above morality. As the basis of the Nazi religion of the Superman, this philosophy produced a nation of gangsters. It can make a criminal out of any human being who permits his ego to feed upon it. Tonight's case is the story of a young man who made the Nietzsche philosophy his religion. A highly intellectual youth with an extraordinary educational background. He was precocious as a child, cynical as an adolescent, and now, well, our story opens at a cabin resort on a lake in northern Illinois. It is nearly sundown. Philip Houston and his young bride of a week are strolling along the lake shore.
Going to be a lovely sunset, Philip.
A storm would be even more beautiful. You know, nature is never more beautiful than when she's angry. When the thunder rolls and rumbles, and crashes, and lightning cuts a gash across the sky.
And the wild wind and rain beat against the house and smash trees to earth.
And swollen streams become raging torrents.
And leap over their banks.
And crush everything in their way.
Phil.
Yes?
I love storms, too.
That's part of what I've been talking to you about the past 3 days. The beauty of power, of force. Remember what I've said? Remember?
To annihilate that which is weak, imperfect, ugly, and to build instead that which is strong, perfect, beautiful.
And that then makes the act of annihilation itself beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, look. Look, Skippy's come down to the shore to meet us. Well, hello, Skippy fella. How are you? Oh, you're that silly-looking animal I ever saw.
Della.
Yes?
You might as well test yourself right now on a very important lesson.
What do you mean, Phil?
I've told you must have no emotional attachments for anybody or anything.
Quiet, Skippy.
That kind of love is weakness. It rules the one who indulges it. You must overcome it now. Here, take this pistol.
Why?
Take it.
Phil, you don't mean you're asking me...
The strong must be ready and able to inflict suffering or death upon any enemy of his strength.
Phil!
Shoot that dog, Della.
No.
You're forgetting the lesson of obedience, too.
No, Phil, I can't.
All right,
I can't.
give me the pistol.
Phil, no!
No, Phil, no.
When you've gotten hold of yourself, Della, come on to the cabin.
Mr. Houston! Mr. Houston!
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Shaw.
Oh, I heard a shot. I thought it came from...
It did. I had to shoot Mrs. Houston's dog.
You had to... Oh, but why?
I'd like to settle my bill now, Mrs. Shaw. We're leaving before dawn. We have an appointment some distance away.
To the disciple of the rule of force, that which is an enemy of strength must be annihilated. The dog provoked affection, affection is weakness. Therefore, Philip Houston destroyed the dog. As for the appointment he and Della had some distance away, it is 2 minutes after 9 o'clock the next morning. The Freeport, Illinois National Bank has just opened its doors for business. It is a small bank, and only one teller is on duty at the moment. He is counting his supply of currency when he becomes aware of a shadow across the counter and looks up into the muzzle of a pistol.
Excuse me, Mr. Teller.
What?
This is a holdup.
Yes, it sort of looks that way.
And if you're reaching with your foot for the alarm pedal, don't bother.
Oh.
Put all your money in this bag. Here.
Very well.
And don't worry about the rest of the staff. They're under the watchful care of the young lady over there with a submachine gun.
You won't get away with this.
That's what you've told yourself so often, isn't it? You're envious of my courage to do the thing you've often been tempted to do yourself. It's the fear of apprehension that keeps most people honest. And put in those tens, too.
Very well.
Most people are weak, and they make laws to make a virtue of their lack of courage.
There.
All right. Give me the bag.
Here you are.
Thank you. You've cooperated splendidly.
I still say you won't get away with this.
Mr. Teller, none of us lives this life forever. But it's far better to live it courageously than cowardly.
Philip Houston, the Superman, and his bride escaped with $20,000 in cash plus securities. A few minutes after the robbery, the Chicago office of the FBI was notified, and Special Agent Cameron went to work. At the bank, employees gave him a good description of the couple, but there were no other clues at the scene. Houston had been careful to leave no fingerprints, and no one had seen which way the bandit car left town. With the aid of the local police, Cameron began combing the country over a wide radius. And it was the next afternoon when he reached the lake resort and questioned the owner, Mrs. Shaw.
The descriptions check all right, Mrs. Shaw. And you say Philip Houston and his wife left here about dawn the morning of the robbery?
Yes, sir.
That would have given them time enough to reach Freeport and get set for the robbery, all right?
Here's something that might help.
What's that?
Well, after the way he killed that dog, I got suspicious of such a mean man and took down his auto license number.
Good for you.
It's on this slip of paper. Here it is.
A Michigan license. Mrs. Shaw, I'd like to look at the register he signed when they checked in.
All right. Oh, but he had me sign for them.
Oh? Careful not to leave any fingerprints, wasn't he?
Of course. I never thought of that at the time, but... Wait a minute.
Yes?
When I was cleaning up after they left, I found a book he'd left behind the bed. Must have fallen over without him knowing it.
May I have it, please?
It's right here on the desk. Here you are.
Ecce homo.
I couldn't make head nor tails of it. It's in some foreign language. He had a lot of books that didn't make much sense to me, even in English.
This one's in German. The work of the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. And it explains a lot about our Mr. Philip Houston.
You don't say.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure we'll find some fingerprints that might tell us a lot more.
That night, Special Agent Cameron contacted the Detroit FBI office and requested a check on the Michigan license number of the bandit car. Also, he airmailed to Washington fingerprints he found in the book. Next morning, there was another bank robbery 100 miles south of Chicago. And that afternoon found Houston and Della hiding in the barn of an abandoned farm.
Della?
Yes?
From now on, for a while, we'll hide out by day and travel by night until we get where we're going.
Where are we going, Phil?
You'll know when we get there. And after that, we'll take off time for some real fun.
But, darling, the police will still be looking for us.
And we'll still be outwitting them. Now, you curl up and get some sleep. I'll keep watch.
No, I'm not sleepy.
Della.
Yes?
Look in this bag. That's over $30,000.
I know.
Money is power, Della. Power to do whatever you want to do. Go everywhere you want to go. Have everything you want to have.
I know, Phil.
What chance would you have for this back home, huh? Scrubbing and cooking. Scrimping and saving, moving in a circle that gets tighter and tighter until it chokes the very breath of life out of you. Do you want that?
Of course not.
No. You and I have got to be free souls. And our freedom is in this bag. It's full now, Della. And it's going to stay that way. Because we're smart enough and strong enough to keep it full. Do you understand?
Yes, Phil.
Della soon dropped off to sleep, and Philip Houston relaxed with a book. But his Superman self-assurance would have been a little disturbed had he known what was taking place in the Chicago office of the FBI.
Cameron speaking.
Hello, Cameron. Murphy, Detroit.
Oh, hello there. Have you got something on that Michigan license?
Yes. It's a 1938 black Buick sedan. Bought 2 weeks ago from a used car dealer. And re-registered under the name of John Weatherford.
Any description of Weatherford?
It checks with your man Houston.
All right. Motor number?
63239300. Got it?
9300. Right. I'll put out a 5-state alarm on it right away. Thanks a lot.
Busy, Leo?
No. What have you got, George?
Teletype from Washington. The fingerprints on the book have been identified.
Good.
They belong to Philip Windsor, who served time in Kansas State Reformatory. And the description is that of so-called Philip Houston.
Well, Mr. Windsor better pray for a quick cool spell. His trail's getting hot.
We momentarily close the Federal Bureau of Investigation file on Philip Windsor, bank robber. We'll return to this case in just a moment. As you read today's newspapers, you undoubtedly experienced a profound feeling of satisfaction when you noted how quickly America has begun to return to the ways of peace. Already a number of the restrictions that were necessary in time of war have been lifted. Others will soon be removed. Business, as well as government, is playing an important role in hastening this return to normal living conditions. And in the forefront of this movement is the management of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. During the war, it was necessary to exclude certain war risks from newly issued life insurance policies. But yesterday, one day after hostilities ended, Thomas I. Parkinson, president of the Equitable Society, announced that the society would discontinue, effective immediately, the war clauses in life insurance policies hereafter issued. This means that Americans, even if now serving in the Army or Navy, can now buy an Equitable Society policy that contains no restrictions as to war risks. Just as the Equitable Society is alert to peacetime opportunities to improve and liberalize its life insurance services to the public, so its funds will continue to work in ways that benefit the country as a whole. Equitable Society dollars, the result of the work, thrift, and savings of the American people, will continue to be invested in the great industries which are now converting to peacetime production to provide jobs for our returning servicemen. Yes, by serving its members, the Equitable Society serves America. And now, back to the file on Philip Windsor, bank robber.
Criminals are not always products of an underprivileged childhood. Many of them had more than comfortable homes, and many of them received the advantages of an excellent education. What caused them to turn to crime? Some started out merely seeking new thrills. Others? Well, let's go on with the story of the young man in tonight's case, whose real identity has been established as Philip Windsor. The FBI now knows that Windsor and his wife are driving a 1938 black Buick sedan, Michigan license. And so far, maybe as a kind of dare, are operating only in the limited area of Illinois.
Hi, George.
Oh, come in, Leo.
Any report from that alarm on Windsor's car?
Not yet, but here's a file on him from the Kansas Reformatory. He got 10 years for a Kansas robbery, but was paroled after 2.
Yes, I see. Thanks to a good family background.
His father was a university professor.
Uh-huh.
In a nutshell, Windsor was a precocious kid who eventually became contemptuous of everything normal and conventional.
And overripe for the power philosophy of old Friedrich Nietzsche.
Exactly.
Come in.
This teletype just came in.
Thanks, Ruth. Well,
what is it?
A report from Belleville. The police down there found Windsor's Buick in a local garage an hour ago.
I see.
He left it there to have the motor overhauled and rented a Ford from him to use while the car was being fixed.
In other words, he just traded cars.
Yes. The Belleville police have already sent out an alarm on the Ford.
You think Windsor's going out of sight for a while?
It looks that way. And the safest place to do that would be at some friend's house.
Yes.
Let's get a wire off to the Kansas Reformatory. I want to know just who Windsor's friends are.
It was at about this same time, shortly after dark, that Philip Windsor and his wife Della slipped out of a cheap rooming house in East St. Louis, down in southern Illinois, got into the Ford sedan and drove rapidly out of the city and headed north.
In a few hours now, Della, we'll be in Chicago.
Then what?
Then I'll contact my friend Kingston, and he'll give us a safe haven for as long as we need it.
Personally, Phil, I would like to hurry up and get some of that freedom you were talking about.
Oh, we have it right now.
You call this freedom?
Aren't we doing the things we set out to do? Aren't we living our own lives in our own way?
I don't call having to hide out by day and slip around by night freedom. And knowing that the police are constantly looking for us, I don't call that freedom either.
I don't want to be disappointed in you, Della.
Disappointed?
I chose you because I thought you had strength and courage.
Have I shown anything else?
Your behavior right now is a sign of weakness.
I'm just tired of running and hiding.
That's all part of the game, Della. But we don't call it running and hiding. Those are cowardly words.
What do we call it then?
This is a game that requires consummate courage, daring, and skill. And in every game, there are offensive moves and defensive moves.
Of course.
We have committed 2 offensive moves. Now we are meeting the inevitable counterattack with defensive measures. Don't you see?
Yes, I see.
State Highway Patrol.
What do we do?
Just keep calm and leave the rest to me.
Pull over to the side and stop.
Yes, sir?
This your own car?
Yes, sir, my own car, and my own brand-new wife. We're on our way home from a little honeymoon trip, and
Let me see your license.
Oh, marriage or car license?
I don't inspect marriage licenses.
All right. My car license is in my bag on the back seat. I'll get it for you. Was I going too fast, officer?
I'm not interested in that angle now.
Ah, here it is. Here you are, officer.
Phil.
That's one counterattack repulsed, Della.
Yes, one counterattack repulsed. But another was about to form in the FBI's Chicago office. It is nearly midnight, and Special Agent Cameron, who went out for a bite of food while waiting for the report from the Kansas Reformatory on Windsor's friends, is re-entering the office.
Did that report come in yet, George?
Yes, and so did another one.
What do you mean?
Windsor slugged a highway patrolman who stopped him on the road out of East St. Louis about 9 o'clock.
Which way was Windsor headed?
Right here, Chicago.
What's the report on his friends?
After he got out of the reformatory, he corresponded regularly with a Marvin Kingston who was still in. But he's out now.
Where?
Chicago. And here's the address.
Good. Keep your fingers crossed, George. This may be the beginning of the payoff.
3 days, FBI agents kept a close watch on Marvin Kingston and his house. But Windsor made no contact with Kingston by person or by phone or by mail. Then, on the afternoon of the 4th day, at the corner grocery a block from Kingston's house, an attractive young blonde came out of the store with a small sack of groceries. She spoke to a little girl rolling a doll buggy.
Hello, honey.
Hello.
Do you know where Mr. Kingston lives?
Uh-huh, right down there.
Well, if you'll deliver this sack of groceries to Mr. Kingston in your doll buggy, I'll give you a whole dime. Do you want to?
Sure. Where's the dime?
Here you are.
Thank you.
And there are the groceries. And tell your dolly to hold on to them tight now, won't you?
Oh, she will.
Thank you, honey. Goodbye.
Bye. Now, Rosemarie, you hold on to that sack good, like the pretty lady said. Hold on, we're going now.
The little girl reached Kingston's house and was about to take the sack from the buggy and start up the front walk when Special Agent Cameron intercepted her.
What have you got there, little girl?
In the sack?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not mine. It's for Mr. Kingston.
Oh,
A pretty lady gave me a whole dime to bring it here.
really?
Uh-huh.
I wonder what's in it. Can I take a look?
Well, just one. But you can't have any of whatever it is.
I promise not to touch anything.
All right. Then take just one little peek now.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Now, go ahead and deliver the sack.
Agent Cameron watched until the girl had delivered the sack and gone. Then he went up to the house and introduced himself to Marvin Kingston.
I'm Special Agent Cameron of the FBI.
What do you want with me?
There was a message in that sack of groceries from Philip Windsor.
What makes you think so?
You're on parole, Kingston. Do you want to face a charge of conspiracy?
All right, here's a note. Windsor wants me to meet him at 8 o'clock tonight at Joe's hamburger stand on Euclid Avenue.
But you'll have to stay here. The FBI will meet Philip Windsor.
At 7:30 that night, several FBI agents joined Cameron and took up positions at various points outside the hamburger stand. Promptly at 8 o'clock, a car drove up and parked half a block away. Philip Windsor and his wife got out, walked to the hamburger stand, and went in. The agents saw them order soft drinks. Minutes passed. Windsor grew restless. Finally, at 8:15, he spoke to Della quietly.
Something must have gone wrong.
I'm sure the little girl delivered the sack with a note.
Maybe Kingston wasn't at home to get it.
Oh, shall we take a chance and call him?
No. Drink your soda.
I don't want any more.
What are you nervous about?
What are you?
I'm not nervous.
I've never seen you act this way before.
I tell you I'm not. I'm not nervous.
Well, I am. I've got a funny feeling.
Shut up.
And so have you.
Shut up, I tell you. Come on, let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Let's get out of here, I said. Come on. Go ahead.
All right.
Come on, back to the car.
Phil.
What's the matter?
Stop where you are, both of you, and raise your hands.
Not for anybody.
Phil!
Don't reach for your gun, Windsor. We're the FBI.
Phil, don't!
You're his wife, Della?
Yes.
I'm sorry. It didn't have to end this way, you know.
Yes, I'm afraid it did. It never could have ended any other way for Phil.
Philip Windsor had no respect for law-abiding citizens. He said, "It is far better to live courageously than cowardly." And saying that, he showed his contempt for those of us who lead conventional lives. Philip Windsor would have been smart to have looked at the record of this nation at war. Because the courage of conventional, ordinary people has been proven on every battlefield. Freedom from tyranny was won on those battlefields for you, the law-abiding, conventional citizen of the world. And freedom from criminal aggression is being won for you here in America by the special agents of the FBI. The special agents who every day prove he who lives by the sword shall perish by the sword. That's the way the Bible puts it. And the history of the world has shown how right the Bible is.
You'll hear the disposition of this case in just a moment. Did you know that in a single battleship of the United States Navy, there are more than 900 electric motors, 1,000 different electrical instruments, 1,100 telephones, 1,600 electronic tubes, and a wiring system 1,700 miles long, all that on one battleship? That gives you an idea of the tremendous wartime assignment that the electrical manufacturing industry received from Uncle Sam. Radar, automatic plane pilots, smoke generators, sound detectors, range finders. These are only a few of the thousands of complex electrical products supplied in enormous quantity to our armed forces. So will you join the Equitable Society in a salute to the electrical manufacturing industry and its 1 million employees? Theirs has been an outstanding job of war production, a credit to the industry and to the American system under which that industry flourishes, and a promise of better living for all of us in the peaceful years to come. For many years, the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States has regarded electrical manufacturing as a sound and safe field for the investment of Equitable Society funds. So millions of Equitable Society dollars have been invested in electrical manufacturing, as well as in scores of other great industries which were mobilized for war production. In wartime, Equitable Society dollars have been fighting dollars. And at all times, they are security dollars for you, your home, and your country.
After the death of her husband, Della Windsor was convicted for her part in the bank robberies and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment.
The incidents used in tonight's broadcast are taken from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. However, all names used are fictitious, and any similarity thereof to the names of persons living or dead is accidental. Programs in this series of particular interest to servicemen overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Tonight, the music was under the direction of Frederick Steiner. The author was Frank Ferries. Your narrator was Frank Lovejoy. This is Your FBI is a Jerry Devine production. Now, this is Carl Frank speaking for the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States and inviting you to tune in again next week at this same time for This is Your FBI.
This is the American Broadcasting Company.